And video. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to my Wednesday afternoon Facebook Live. I did miss last week, had lots of things going on, so I apologize because I didn't even notify you that I was not going live. However, I'm here this week. I have a few things to mention. First of all, the brand new annual catalog went live yesterday. Most of the products are available for purchase. There's a couple of items that are on a bit of a slowdown, and unfortunately already a couple of items back ordered, believe it or not. So the demonstrators that were able to order in the month preceding went hardcore on some of these items, but they will be in stock before too long. All that said, we also have two other promotions launching as of yesterday. We have a hostess or host promotion. So if you host a workshop, gather together your friends, we can do it online. You want me to do some kind of presentation, you just need to reach out. I can do that and create a special Facebook group or whatever you want. And create some projects and kits for you. There is from May 4th to June 14th, I believe the date is, an additional $30 in host rewards once you hit $300 in sales in your workshop. So that's something to keep in mind. And also we have a join promotion going on for this coming month. I know I don't have all the details right in my head, but for your $135 purchase, no GST, no shipping, if you choose to join Stampin Up, you will get up to $205 worth of product, whatever you want. There is no set items that you must have to create a starter kit. It's whatever you want. $205. It can't be $205.01. It's $205 worth of product that you can get if you choose to join my team. I will leave some details when I post this later. If any of those interest you, please reach out and I can talk to you in more detail. I don't mean to do this as a sales pitch. I want to share a project with you. And today's project is a card created with the In Bloom and the coordinating stitched blooms dies. These are in the mini catalog and are carried over into the new annual catalog. In the annual catalog, they are not featured as a bundle. So if you really want this grouping of products, you should purchase them before the end of June, or you can still purchase them under the bundle code. So all of that said, let me get my keyboard out of the way because I don't need it. Let's turn this camera around and let's get started. So this is the stamp set. It's a photopolymer stamp set that has a bunch of floral type images. They're all solid and some great greetings. And then this is only some of them because I have some of them set up to cut today. But all these beautiful floral leaf bow, and there's actually a frame all stitched. And they're really, really pretty and really, really fun. So the project that we're going to make today is a little different than my normal style. It's a little bit antiqued. Kelly, oh gosh, what was her last name? Kelly Rose started the inspiration on this and I kind of ran with it. And I've done something on both sides of the envelope. And we'll get into the details of how we get there. But this is the card that I'm going to help show you how to create today. So in our kit, it's actually not that difficult. There's lots of stamping, but it's not difficult. We have a card base of crumb cake that is 8.5 by 5.5. Excuse me, I need to double check my Facebook and make sure I have got my notifications on. Sorry, there we go. Sorry, 8.5 by 5.5, scored at 4.25, which I'm going to fold and burnish.
set that aside for a moment. And then in our kit, obviously we have an envelope. We have 2 pieces of 4 by 5 1/4 Whisper White and 1 piece of Blushing Bride that is 4 1/8 by 5 3/8. I'm going to set our envelope aside for a moment, and we're using a lot of different tools. So I have some scraps of Blushing Bride, Whisper White, and vellum. And the reason that we have vellum, I don't know if you can see that or not, but I have vellum leaves behind the flowers on this project. Okay. So the hardest part is actually creating the background of the card front for the main piece. It looks like my blade's getting a little ragged. I need to replace it, but we're not going to worry about that today. So I'm using my foam mat because it's a photopolymer, and so I want to try and get my best images. And I'm going to set my card stock off center a little bit so that I can stamp off. So let me open up my Blushing Bride, and I have this image, which is a totally solid floral image. I'm going to ink that up really, really well. I'm going to stamp once, full strength. So basically 3 generational, and I'm sure you can't see that image on screen, but there is a really faint floral image there. Oh, well, I'm not happy with that. Okay, let's try this again. I caught the edge, and so I ended up with a line. You want to watch, be careful of that when you're going over the edge of cardstock, so you don't get a line on your image. You want that to be your last stamp, or you're going to go back and re-ink. Okay, so I want another really strong flower here, but if I go back and stamp again, I'm going to get a line across. So I'm going to ink up again, stamp off, and overlap those flowers like that. There, that's pretty good. Now, before I put this away, no, we're going to have to come back to this because I have stages to do. So now we have, we're going to bring in a soft suede, and we're going to use this to stamp our centers. And we're going to use a similar idea with the generational stamping, where we will stamp 3 times. So it keeps getting lighter each generation of stamping. Hopefully that makes sense. Full one here, part one here. I get all the centers. Okay, I think that's pretty good. Now, we're not going to put the soft suede away for a minute. And I'm going to bring in a blending brush. Now you can use a sponge, that works just as well. And I have some crumb cake ink here. I'm just going to brush it off. Then I'm going to lightly antique the edges. So up to you how far into the card you want to come with it. I see a center I missed. Mind me, I'm going to come back. I missed this one here. See it later. Don't see it when you're staring at it. So if anybody's watching today, just jump on and say hello. It's nice to know I'm not here by myself. I'm also going to take our 4 1/8 by 5 3/8 piece of Blushing Bride and antique the edge of that as well. And as I said, you can do this with a sponge if you have one. Our sponges are officially retired, so I will not use them in my demonstrations, but if you have them, they work perfectly well. And then we're going to go on to the next step, which I think is kind of fun. Okay, and I'm just going to set that aside for a minute. Okay, so we're going to give this just a little bit more texture. So what I have brought in is one of our basic decorative masks. Now this is entirely up to you. I have done this all freehand and it has worked okay for me, but you can glue these down with temporary adhesive if you like, so that things don't move. But I've done okay, and it's like I said, it's entirely up to you whether you want to do that or not. And I always just kind of brush off after I've inked up my blending brush so that I don't go on there full strength and make it really, really dark. And it's going to add a bit of interesting texture. See how that has added some texture, but we're not done yet. We are going to, no, landscape card. I did that wrong the first time. I'm going to add just a little bit of texture in the two opposite corners, just like that. I'm going to try and avoid going over the edge of the mask, just kind of random. Okay, so that's going to be for the inside, and then our envelope. I want to do the flap with the mask. So this is going to be a little tricky. Turn my map this way. So I'm trying to line up the fold on the envelope kind of at the border of the mask. I'm going to be careful to not go too far so that we end up on the front of the envelope. And once we take it off, we're kind of committed. So, ta-da! Oh, see, I got a little bit. That's okay. That'll get covered up with a label. And then we're not quite finished stamping with our pink. I'm going to bring back in our Blushing Bride. And I'm going to do a full strength flower, second generation. Third gen, oh shoot. Okay, I have brown flower. I hit the wrong stamp pad. That's okay. We'll live with it. Let's see what I can do. Well, let's clean the stamp first before I make a bigger mess. My issues with having two stamp pads open. There, we add a little bit of pink blush to it. And then I want to do, let's see if I can get this right this time. Same kind of idea on the envelope. Okay, and then of course, we need centers on those flowers. So we're going to do the same thing with the generational stamping. Okay. This could be interesting. Let's see what this looks like. It's not all terrible. And then while I have my softs, so this is soft suede that I'm using, I'm going to stamp my inside sentiment, which is "You mean so much to me." And then on a scrap of white, I am going to do the sentiment for the outside, which is "You are amazing." And this is all part of the same stamp set. Okay. Let me close some stuff up here. A mess, a bigger mess. All right, so I'm going to bring in my small Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine. We're going to do a little bit of cutting. So this frame here is one that is part of the set. And I'm going to use that to cut out our sentiment for the front. It makes this really sweet stitched frame. And then we are going to cut out our flowers, our blossoms. Some of the centers and the leaves are already done because I was able to do multiples when I did my sample. So there won't be quite as much cutting. This actually goes together quite quickly. So we have our 3 blooms out of Blushing Bride. Now, when I cut earlier, I was able to get one large leaf out of the vellum and some centers, but I didn't get enough of the small leaves. So we will cut a couple of those. The machine is really handy when I'm doing stuff on camera or right at my desk. Me having to stand so much. Okay. I believe that is everything I need. Just take that out of the way. Start bringing all our pieces together. So one of the other things that I want to do is actually antique the edge of this label. And if you don't have quite enough ink on your brush or sponge, you can just add a little bit more. Just be careful when you freshly ink that you just don't go 100%, or you'll have way more color on there than you want. All right. I think we're done with all the stamping and inking. So the first thing I want to do is take this one and adhere it there. So there's only a 1/16 of an inch here border, so you got to be a little careful gluing that on. Now in our sample that I had, I used this beautiful blushing bride ribbon that's in the mini that goes till the end of June. Now, there's different ways we could do this ribbon, or we could use a different ribbon. So I could use it just pink side up and take the glimmer out of it, or I could use the one from, oh gosh, this one, which I also think would be very pretty. Let's use this one to try it out for something different. So I need enough of a length of ribbon to go across. And then I'm going to add adhesive to the back of my base. Or not my base, my card front. Fine Art Floral Suite. Sorry, that's the name that was escaping me. That's where the gold ribbon, this ribbon here, is from. And I want to put it about 1 inch. Guess it really doesn't matter where my bottom is. Eyeball it straight and wrap that around. Here is our card base, and we will add this. And then we need to start assembling our pieces on the front. So I used the small dimensionals because I wanted to make sure that this got popped up on either side of the ribbon, so it wouldn't hang on the ribbon and drag and fall forward. So we'll put 4 little dimensionals, 1 in each corner. Set that about there. And then I'm going to take our, see how pretty they are, all stitched. Now there's some assembly to these, but I want to give them some dimension of their own. So I'm going to take my bone folder and curl up the petals. Now, this bigger stitched center, I'm going to put a dimensional on the back of that one. And that goes, whoops, goes on the bigger flower, which I'm going to place down here. And the middle size flower, which is this one, I'm going to use a glue dot. Just take it to the dot and then stick it in the middle there. And that one's going to go up here. And then this one here, so I've got more than I need. I'm also going to use a glue dot on this little star-shaped center. It's just so tiny. The tweezers do help me pick it up. Oops. And I'll put that in the center of that flower. And that one's going to end up over here. And then we are going to have to add our leaves, sprigs of leaves. So I have 1 large one and 2 smaller ones. So I want to put a smaller one behind here. So kind of like that. So I'm just going to put a glue dot on the stem. my extra backing paper here. So the easiest way to do that is to just take it. Now I'm going to actually put it on the face so that I can glue it to the back of the petal, just like that. And then I can put a dimensional on the back of that. Oops, harder. And then this larger one, I kind of want it to come off this big petal. So I am going to put a glue dot on the front of it, but I am probably going to add one at the back after I place it, just to kind of hold it down. And this one we're going to put right about there. So we'll put a dimensional. That one can handle a full size. And then this one, I'm a little more picky than I was when I did it on my sample. Yeah, okay. Same thing. I'm going to put a glue dot on the front side. Oh, I think I have a glue dot on my finger. And they stick. Okay. And I'm going to put that on the back of the petals. I'm going to put a dimensional on the back of the petals. And then kind of figure out where I want it to hang out. So kind of like that. Now this is really sticking and flapping. So this is where I said that I would probably, hello, Mary Liz. Good afternoon. Thank you for your compliment about the card. A little different than my style. I don't usually go for the antique-y stuff, but I thought it was very pretty. So we'll just put a glue dot there to kind of stop that from popping up. And then I'm going to tie a bow because it has to have a bow because that's just what I do. This ribbon with the metallic thread in it is a little bit more of a challenge to tie. And you want to give yourself a little extra length on the ends while you fidget with it because it does fray quite easily. Okay, and I want a smaller bow, so I think that should work. So we'll just trim that. So put a good angle on this because it does fray, and that helps cut down on the fraying. Maybe a little bit more. And then, of course, glue dot on the back, right there. And then we just have to put our inside in. And I will need to add champagne rhinestones, like smaller size. You can kind of play with it. Like I put one on a flower center. I used one for the dot on my eye. And then just went random like that. So you've got your 3. So that is my card for you. So I'd be curious in your opinion, which ribbon you preferred, whether you liked the gold and white or cream, or the pink with the gold glitter in it. I will get this up on my blog today, And it'll be there for you to watch later time or on my YouTube channel, parklandstamper.com. If there's anything that I can help you with in sourcing out product, or if you have questions, please drop me a line. I'd be more than happy to help you. Thanks so much for watching. I really do appreciate your support. Have an amazing rest of your day. We've got some great weather coming our way. Thanks so much again. Bye-bye.